Construction. The address is 1302 17th Street Northeast, Austin, Minnesota, and the value is $360,000, 360000.
It's northeast, not northwest. Where is it?
Northeast, I'm sorry if I said northwest.
Oh, that's just what it says in the
So,
agenda.
sorry, should be north.
I just want to make sure we're building houses at the right spot.
I put my glasses back on.
All right, is there a motion to approve the Bigelow and Lennon tax abatement request? Don made a motion? Second by Peggy. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. And our second tax abatement request is also from Bigelow and Lennon for new construction at 2203 9th Place Southwest.
Thank you. So again, as was just announced, it's at 2203 9th Place Southwest in Austin, Block 2, Block 1, and the value of that house is $366,000, 366000.
Is there a motion to approve the second tax abatement from Bigelow and Lennon? Motion by Peggy, second by Evan. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Are there any delegations tonight? Okay, I don't see anyone. So we will keep moving forward with our superintendent's report with Dr. Page.
Thank you, Chair Green, or Dubay. That was a shout out to Kathy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair Dubay. And we miss Kathy. And members of the board, a few things I want to talk about tonight. First of all, it was a tremendous honor to be part of the I.J. Holton Veterans Day program yesterday. Had a tremendous turnout, and I just want to thank I.J. Holton staff for organizing that, and then certainly to our veterans. I want to thank them for their service and to their families. I want to congratulate our newly elected and returning school board members. We're grateful for their dedication to our students, staff, and community. Thank you for stepping forward to serve in this important role and your commitment to ensuring a bright future for our students. We look forward to working together to achieve great things for our district. And I want to just recognize Aunt Zilke, who is in the audience tonight, and will be joining us after we campus later this week, so congratulations. I also want to say congratulations to Riverland Ag instructor and high school teacher, Nick Schultz, who was named the 2024 Post-Secondary Educator of the Year by the Minnesota Farm Bureau Federation. And so this is an honor that will take place on November 22nd for him in Minnetonka. And as part of this recognition, Nick will also be invited to the American Farm Bureau Federation's annual convention in San Antonio, Texas in January. So congratulations to him. I want to also congratulate our swimming and diving athletes making it to state. Elena Kennedy, Reese Norton, and Gracie Greenman, and also Abby Boyson, who was part of the All Big Nine team recently. But we have three athletes that are being participating in state events here. Today I had an opportunity to join I.J. Holton staff member Dewey Shara, Dave Brown, Ashley McLaren, at the Southern Minnesota chapter of Association of Fundraising Professionals. And they were selected for philanthropy for outstanding youth in their group. And their nomination was from Gail Dennison. And we were over in Rochester today, so I just want to congratulate them. Our student council members have been dedicated to supporting the Hormel Institute, and it's been inspiring to see how our team has come together to create meaningful fundraising efforts that engage not only the peers, but the entire school community. So congratulations to them for their work. And also just a special thank you to Gail Dennison for the nomination for this event. Last month was our annual, fourth grade Austin Symphony Orchestra. And we had over 10,000 students from 20 schools that attended the event here today. So I just want to thank the Austin Symphony Orchestra, our teachers, our custodians, our staff, our buildings. It was terrific to be able to hold that event here with all of the logistics that requires and put on a great program for our kids. It was very, very nice. And I don't know, but also had students from Alberley and Owatonna attending, so that was very, very nice. This coming week here, the week before Thanksgiving break, actually is American Education Week, and we're going to be highlighting, there's highlighting of different themes through the week, but it's also just a tribute to everyone in our country's public schools. And I want to thank the Austin Public School staff for all that they do each and every day to prepare all of our learners to make a difference in the world. Our Austin head volleyball coach, Nichelle Gabelson, was named co-coach this year for the section 1-3A, along with the Albert Lee coach. And this was the best record that they had in 15 years. So I just want to congratulate her and her team on a great volleyball season. You know, at Austin Public Schools, one of our key priorities is providing the support and resources needed for a safe and welcoming learning environment. And I don't know if you had a chance to see the story about Mickey Ely and her family, but I just want to just mention her. We have 3 generations of her family working in the Austin Public Schools. She does a terrific job, and her, well as her family. So thank you to Mickey and her family. I think it's wonderful. Also want to mention that we have the MSBA Leadership Conference coming up in January. We will be well represented by the Austin School Board. We also have some training with MSBA up at that event. And we've also received word that we have 2 sessions that will be provided for that conference. One is on the Packer profile, Building for the Future. Emily Hovland, Jane Carlson, Matt Schmidt will be presenting on that. And then our online programming for student success. Jessica Kubin will be doing the breakout session on our Austin Online Academy. So congratulations to them for their great work. Also wanted to just highlight something we've been talking about and really bring this in the forefront too is attendance. This is really important in our school. You're probably seeing a lot of news and this from all different outlets. I know we've been really pushing this hard here in schools, and we had a great presentation at our last meeting with Corey Haugen here, just showing the impacts of attendance. And we're going to continue to work hard with our families and our staff to create attendance plans by addressing barriers like transportation, housing, health, all of those things. We just did some of that tonight. So thank you for your work on that. It is really important that we have our kids in school. So last piece for tonight, I just want to just recognize Dr. Katie Baskin. If you have, board members, if you haven't seen this, in the recent MSBA journal, she did have an article that was submitted. It was called Initiative Implementation, the Role of District and the Principal. And I just want to congratulate her on highlighting such an essential aspect of educational leadership in her recent article. If you haven't had a chance to read it, she emphasizes the importance of school leaders recognizing their role within the broader system and fostering a cohesive district-aligned implementation process is spot on. So thank her. If you see her, thank her. She did a great job in contributing this valuable insight to our profession.
Thank you, Dr. Page.
I'd just like to say, Dr. Page, that I agree with everything that you said just now. But I would like to also underscore, I went to a number of volleyball games this year. And as a former coach, I was really struck by the demeanor of Coach Gabelson, her ability to work closely with the players, respect for the officials and the fans. So I think it was an outstanding choice that she received the co-coach of the year in the section.
Does anybody else have comments, questions? All right, hearing none, are there any school board reports? Go for it.
I just want to share a couple of things. A couple of years ago, I got an invitation from the Boy Scout of America District Coordinator Eric Carr. And the invitation was to go to Sumner Elementary School and observe a parent-family night where they're going to do the Pinewood Derby. And so I got in my car. I'm not a Boy Scout. I got in my car. It was 6 o'clock. I got there at 5 to 6. I was in one car around the school. And I thought, have I got the right date? And I looked at my phone. It was the right date. It was the right time. And so I figured I'd drive around a little bit, and I drove around, I came back, I couldn't get a parking spot. I went inside, Mr. Eric greeted me, told me what they were doing. They were building these little cars out of blocks of wood, and he took me into the conference room, and here were probably 25 families working on these little square pieces of wood, sanding them, putting decals on them, putting wheels on them, because in the gym, there was a big ramp, and they were gonna race those cars on the ramp. And it was one of the most important things I think I've ever done in my 12 years on the school board, is to see that family group together, and there wasn't one electronic device in that room, which was great. So a lot of communication and prayers. Well, if you go a year ago, the Boy Scouts decided to have a banquet to honor individuals. And one of our own, Sheila Berger, was nominated for an award, and I assume it had something to do with education. And then about 3 weeks ago, 4 people were honored. There was a Hormel executive, Dan Day, Scott Weekman from the DFW Club, former commander, Wendell Strum from Rose Creek, great community member, and another one of our own, Dewey Sharp. And they all got up and gave little presentations. All of them talked about the joy of working with young people. They talked about camaraderie and working together and the field trips they took. And it was really inspiring. I thought it was so inspiring, I think I'm gonna write a little bit of a letter to the editor, and I did, about that night. Has anybody had a chance to read it? Well, I focused on Dewey Shar's presentation. And Dewey Shar got up there and he said that when he was coming to work that night, or going home from school that night, he listened to a radio report that said 7 out of 10 people think this country's going in the wrong direction. He said, I'm here to tell you that's not the truth. And so, as he was talking, he looked back at an individual in the back of the room, a student. I think his name is Hunter Peterson. Looked like he just walked out of the Walton TV series. Big, tall, strapping kid with wavy hair. And he went up and he started talking, because Dewey said, start talking about what you did. And he started talking about a service project. The service project was about refurbishing some of the swimming locker rooms at Ellis School. And while Hunter was talking, Dewey was walking around the room with a whiteboard showing all the photos before and after. And then when Dewey got done, he said, I hope I just disproved the 7-10 rule that was talked about, because this kid's amazing. We have all kinds of kids in this community who are amazing, and they're all over the place. So I believe our future is bright, and it was just really a knockout moment for Dewey Sharp. Now I would like to just take 1 minute to talk about the election. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you, Cece, for being reelected, because I believe you've really grown a lot over the last 4 years, and nothing but the best is in your future.
You also have.
Huh?
You also, congratulations.
Thanks. And Dan, if you're in the building, congratulations to you. I would just say I was struck by that 2-year election. The only exposure I've had to Isabel Kruger is at the forum that night. She received 5,000 votes. She has been living in this community for 1 year, and she works out of town. That is, in my opinion, amazing. Now, I can tell you this, I've been elected 4 times to the board. I don't know why anybody's voted for me. It could be the fact that I have coached sports, that I belong to the Y, that I'm a church member, that I married a beautiful woman who's nice, and people say, well, if she married him, he must be an okay guy. You know?
That's it.
But Ms. Kruger had a platform. And that platform, I've read it over several times, and it had to do with the LBGT community. It had to do with closing the achievement gap, and it had to do with sex education. Those are 3 parts of the pillar, of her platform. So I think as a school board, we we recognize that the community, she struck a chord with the community. Dan struck a chord with the community. But 5,000 votes for a newcomer in Austin, that is just amazing. So, thank you very much.
Anybody else have any reports? Okay, we're gonna turn our attention to our student representative reports, with Anita Rao and Michael Geary. Who's up first? Anita?
Superintendent Page, Chairperson Dubay, and members of the board, my name is Anita Rao, and I am your 12th grade representative for this year. I will be presenting to you the first half of the student report. November has been a busy month for the music department. Starting out on October 28th, the annual 4th grade Symphony Orchestra concert took place. Students from Fairfield, Netherlands, Southgate, and Sumner traveled to Austin High School to hear songs related to animals and the animal kingdom, as well as experience live music in a new way. In addition, former Austin teacher Lisa Dio performed a read-aloud at this event. The Austin High School Choir had a concert on November 4th, where the Austinaires, chorals, and concert choir performed. It had an amazing turnout and was a great showcase of their effort that the choir students put in. As well as the concert on November 4th, Charles Lazarus, a Minnesota orchestra trumpet player, visited the high school to work with students while sharing tips and tricks on how to become a better performer. He also worked with small groups of trumpet players in a trumpet masterclass. And finally, tonight at 7 p.m., the 8th through 12th grade fall band concert is taking place. This concert gives a unique opportunity to 8th graders to experience a high school level concert and helps them envision what next year can look like for them. Last week was election week, and in preparation, the high school hosted a mock election on the 1st of November. Every student was able to experience what it is like to vote and how important it is to share your voice. The mock election created the opportunity for students to volunteer and work the polls. They learned how to create a safe voting environment, as well as ensure the voting process was done legally. Overall, this was a great experience and representation of democracy through showing the importance of voting. Next, the Go Green Club has been also busy this month, and the club members visited the Steele County landfill, where they learned about landfills, disposal of waste properly. They were able to watch garbage being processed, learn what a lactite looks like, and how it functions, as well as gain knowledge on how landfills affect our environment. Then, on the 2nd, Go Green members also took on the task of picking up trash around Mill Pond and Austin's downtown area. Go Green's mission is to promote environmental awareness, and so far they have been doing a fantastic job. November has just begun, and there's already so much happening in the Austin district that the student body is excited about. Thank you so much for your time. This concludes the first half of the student report. Do you guys have any questions?
Not a question, but a comment on the fall concerts that have been happening. It has been really exciting to see how much growth happens from that 8th grade to that senior level ensemble. So I went both the orchestra and choir, and going tonight because I have a son who's going to be playing. Shout out to my Michael. But just, he's gonna kill me. But it's really great to see people pursuing their passions in the arts, in whatever we're seeing. So if you can convey that to your peers,
Yeah.
please just let them know that they've got a whole bunch of cheerleaders up here.
No, Austin does a great job at supporting the arts in the high school. It's definitely helps to have a nice building like this too, where people can come and make music. So,
Awesome.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
Anita, how close were you to the election results that we all saw?
They sent out an email, and I can actually pull it up and pass it around if you guys want to see the results for it. But I think they were pretty accurate. We were off a little bit on the school board representatives, but I think it's just because people aren't really educated in that as much. And then, but the national-wide ones, we were pretty much on track with that, so,
Thank you.
yeah.
The students must not know how cool that was.
All right, next up we have Michael Erie.
Superintendent Page, Chairperson Dubay, and members of the school board, I am here to present the second half of the student report. As we transition from fall to winter, our athletic teams have been wrapping up successful fall seasons and gearing up for the winter sports. We are excited to watch athletes to continue to compete and grow as they take on new challenges in the upcoming months. In addition, today we held a school-wide blood drive, which allows students to contribute positively to our community by donating blood. This event highlighted the importance of giving back and raised awareness among students and the need for blood donations, especially as we head into the holiday season. We are also proud to recognize some staff achievements. Tyler Meyer received the Excellent Educator Award. This award was well deserved as he goes above and beyond for his Spanish students, advocating for their learning, making extra efforts to connect with students, and always being willing to give help when needed. Personally, I really enjoyed having Mr. Myers, and I had a great, strong connection with him. We would like to extend our congratulations to him for this well-deserved honor. On October 23rd, our school held a Packer Profile Assembly, a big event where we shared info about the new school program, celebrated school spirit, and brought the entire student body together. This assembly highlighted the efforts made to the Packer Profile and looking into students' futures, also showing a positive school culture and encouraging each student to look at their future after high school and explore college or career options. In a hands-on learning experience, students from our Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources course visited a local farm. This trip provided valuable insights into modern farming practices and the role of agriculture in our community, giving students first-hand exposure to the importance of sustainable farming and resources management. This concludes the second half of this student representative report.
Say, Michael, did you ever find out how many units were donated in the blood drive?
I did not.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions, comments? They're all looking at the results. Thank you, Michael. Don't get too distracted over there. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Well, that was a motion by Cece, and I heard a, no, by Peggy.
Yep.
I heard a low voice over here. Second. Any discussion? Go ahead.
I could just ask about the treasury report. Just a general question about the treasury report. I would ask Todd or you would have to change it. But I noticed some of those, I was gonna call it out on my phone, so I can't. But I noticed we got $20 million in investments and funds and various things. I mean,
Pop your microphone on quick.
yeah, I mean, so $20 million, the bottom line there, with activity funds and investments and things like that. I'll just anecdotally, I just say, if I look at my checking account, I had all kinds of money, I wanna do something with it. I mean, I'm not saying we spend down, but that's $20 million is a lot of money, right? Isn't it?
That's what you're asking.
I mean, are there certain things you have to do with it, or?
When you look at our book of business and you look right now, we're at about $100 million district. That gives us about the cash on hand would give us, on our operations, about 2.5, 3 months. So again, and the auditors are gonna go through the presentation tonight, the district is sitting in a really good financial situation, but there are things coming up that we've gotta look at, so, we are being very strategic on everything we do, and we will bring stuff forward. But, right now, I would say we're in a healthy situation.
And I mean, like, I think tonight later on, there's a bit that you're gonna recommend, some of the things we saw about improvements. Is that something that you're thinking about? Is that one of those?
Yes, we're always looking at ways to improve our facilities and that, and we'll continually be strategic in what we look at spending the money on in the future.
Anything else?
Comments and questions
Using your microphone now. Bring it closer. Thanks. I just wanna make sure people can hear you.
Okay. Again, I want to thank everybody who takes the time to do those CAS reports. They're extremely helpful, and I get a lot of information out of them. I do want to pick on Corey tonight a little bit.
Okay.
I got a question on, you had some really nice information in there, and you had your end of quarter one grades in there, and you had a nice summary of the past year showing the trends. And so it's IJ, Ellis, and Austin High, and the trends for the 4 years. And it's going down. And I know that you've probably sliced and diced and done all kinds of analysis on that. Is it like the attendance issue? Is that like the main
Yeah.
thing that you're seeing with that?
Attendance does correlate to this, definitely, because we've seen over the post-pandemic even, we have not seen the recovery to the pre-pandemic levels with attendance measures. So that's definitely playing a part in this. Plus factoring that 21-22 year, which was the baseline that year, there was still some more pass-fail grading mechanisms in place coming out of the pandemic that year. So that helped that baseline actually inflate a little bit. But yeah, we're seeing that change. And then the other piece that we now see this year, and we don't know what the full impact is yet, but we've seen grading parameters change in those grading bands too, the grade bands. So,
Yes, Corey's in where I was gonna start, with that. I think one of the big factors we have is our grading policy change from 9-10 to 7-13, 5-12, so, we'll continue to, bring forward data for you to look at. That is a big change for us.
Perfect, thank you. And I had a comment too about the site report. That was really nice. I like the links to all the site newsletters in there. That was extremely helpful. But just for my clarification, on page 4, there was information in there about behavior at Ellis, and it looked like it was doing like 23 through 24 school year had 324 major referrals, and then it says 114 then for September through October for this year. And then also on page 5, there was a link that went to behavior data as of 10/28/24, and that had total events of 55. So I just was wondering, how, is that different than the major referrals, or how does the total events of 55 versus where it says 114 major referrals? Just for my own.
I think the reference there, just to clarify on the behavior trend there, what we're seeing at Ellis, I mean, they're seeing a significant decrease in their behaviors, especially in the hallways and non-classroom area. but over the last 3 years, it went from 338 to 332 to 114 through the end of October. So for the first 2 months of school, they're at half the number of major referrals in that regard. But I think the reference to the 55, I think you said was the number, was related to the number of unique offenders.
Okay.
So there's 114 incidences that occurred, but we're committed by 55 offenders. So those are the number of kids that created that number of events. So there's about 2 events per kid on average.
Okay.
It's not 114 kids doing one thing, it's 50-some kids doing, on average, 2 things. Some of them do more than 2, some of them do 1, but, you know.
Thank you for that.
All right, do you have any other questions? Anybody else? Okay. We've had a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving tonight's consent agenda? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. All right, next we get to hear from some students. We are going to hear about the World Through Christ Conference update with teacher Lisa Sanders and students Chloe Cannon, Michaela Joe, Sabrina, I'm gonna say it wrong. How do I say it? Najid? Okay. And Isabella Rosenthal. Michaela, did I get your last name? Dopujo? Dopujo. Dopujo. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us to speak, Superintendent King, Chairperson DeBate, and members of the board. I am Lisa Sanders, and I teach social studies here at Austin High School. And I have the privilege of teaching these young ladies last year, and also all kinds of, all the other 10th graders in human geography, AP human geography. And so I'm going to talk today about the opportunity that they had to go to the Global Youth Institute and that fits into our school programs. As you'll hear as they're talking about their experience, you will hear that how this fits with our school board's mission of inspiring, empowering, and accelerating students, and preparing all learners to make a difference in the world, because that, in essence, is the school program. When we're looking at students, there's a couple of, for their desired daily outcomes. So we're looking at I'm trusted to make good decisions from the student's point of view by engaging in their learning and being held accountable but not overwhelmed. And that was a big component of this project, and they can attest to that. Like, they had accountability, they had things that they needed to do, but trying not to keep them from being overwhelmed. And then also that they have a voice, and that was very evident in what they did and also the experience we had. And then for families, looking at that our students have voices, that their thoughts and ideas are heard without being discriminated against was also a big, huge component of this project as well. And that, from a parent's perspective, that students are taught the life skills that are necessary to succeed, be successful in whatever path they go. And whether they are going into agriculture or not, or business, what they learned in this experience will help them along the way. And then as a teacher, I myself was introduced to this project a year and a half ago. And from there, it was brought into my classroom. I had the freedom to bring that into my classroom in how I saw fit, but also the support with not only our teaching and learning department, but also Hormel Foods as mentors as well. And so all of this project fits into all of our Packer core values throughout the whole district. So what exactly did the students do? They went to Des Moines, Iowa in October, the last week in October 29th through the 31st, and attended the World Food Prize Foundation, which this was the 30th anniversary, where Dr. Borlaug and also John Brown believe that students should have a voice, and they have an awesome voice, and they should have an opportunity to make decisions now in order to set us up for the future, because they are our future leaders. So at this foundation project, or at the foundation, we had 3 main programs going on: Global Youth Institute, which they were part of. One of There were the 4 of the 175 delegates from the United States and also many countries around the world. And then we also got to participate in some of the Norm Borlaug International Dialogues, which CEO Mr. Sneed was also there from Hormel. And we heard from world leaders from Tanzania and Ethiopia and Sierra Leone. And then also the food prize for the laureates. And so when we look at the World Food Prize, this is the whole purpose behind the food prize, okay? That we are, that the World Food Prize Foundation believes that elevating youth voice is crucial to creating a more food, secure, equitable, and sustainable world. And that the purpose of this week is to provide them with opportunities to deepen their understanding of global food, security, agriculture, and sustainability issues related, as well as enhance their leadership skills, as they are the future leaders of the world. So one of the opportunities that they had, and you guys on Tuesday afternoon got to hear from the laureates, and these 2 gentlemen are making sure that we will have food for the future. They looked at preserving and protecting global crop biodiversity and genetic resources by creating the seed vault in Norway. And so they were given the laureate honor, and we were able to view that, the award ceremony virtually. And then also, like I said, they got to interact with them on Tuesday, and also on Thursday night at the end of this event, the kids were having a dance party, and these gentlemen arrived, and we took a big, huge picture with all of the teachers and advisors and coordinators from all the different states around the United States who have these, who host the youth events, youth institutes that lead into this, and then all of the some past delegates were there as youth leaders, so we were all there as well. Whoops. So here are some of our big highlights. So they have the Plant the Mood activity, and I will let the ladies talk about some of these in a second. We had breakfast with the Hormel team, including CEO Jim Stee and Jackie Joyner Kersey, and hearing about her program in East St. Louis and how she grew up with not having a lot of nutrition, and so how that could have impacted her performance had maybe she could have won that very first race. But she did state that the first time she ran, she came in last. So, and then she goes on to win 6 medals. We also heard from government leaders and U.S. and foreign government leaders, including Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack. And they went on immersions, and they presented their papers that they'd worked at for the Minnesota Youth Institute last May, and then presented them again in the roundtable discussions. Participated in a farm craft, which is like Minecraft game, and then also a meal packing event, a little bit different than ours, but ours was showcased when Mr. Snee also presented earlier in the day during one of the international dialogues, and then attended the laureate ceremony virtually. And so here is Dr. Vilsack, or Secretary of State for Agriculture Vilsack, taught you with Andrew Young, who is actually a civil rights activist, but he was also an ambassador, and he is 92 years old there, and is talking about what he is doing for agriculture around the world. And then here we are, breakfast morning, and with our 2 mentors also, Selma and Danny from Hormel. So this is highlighting what Hormel is doing in our community with food security, and that was part of this program as well. And then there's the food. And Sabrine is on the right, and then Bella's there, she did her breakfast. And then this is a picture of the seatbelt that they have, and these are all of the delegates from Minnesota, and then Mary Buschetti, who is the head of the Minnesota Youth Institute, which is where the students first presented their papers, and then from there were selected to go to the Global Youth Institute. So having 4 in our very first year doing this, 4 students being part of the Minnesota delegation was amazing. It was awesome. I'm super proud of these ladies. And so now I'm going to turn
My name is Bella Rosenthal. I did my project based off of improving Louise's food waste and also food production. So I kind of looked into what our Louise produced, and I focused on bananas and then how you could turn that into your own fertilizers to sustain your own food production. My overall experience at the Global Youth Institute down in Des Moines, Iowa. At first, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Like, how did I get to be at this level with these people? And there's people from China. There was a girl from Honduras. She was so kind. And I'm like, what did I do to qualify myself to get to this point? But through going with Sarah's class and then writing this essay and presenting my project at the University of Minnesota in May, I was like, wait, I put in this effort. I did the paper. I spoke to the people who were judging me, and I was confident, and I was qualified enough to actually make it to that level. And so that was just a big accomplishment for me, and it reminded me of that I can actually do things, and that I'm not just some average kid from Austin, Minnesota, that I can go to a global conference and then show them what I know about my paper. And so some of the things I really enjoyed, like this picture is at my roundtable presentation. I was roundtable E, and I had not three delegates, sorry, I had three, they're called experts. And I don't remember their names. It was a very stressful night. I waited like all day. I had to wait until like 7. We were doing this after dinner, so I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go to bed. But they were so nice. I got to eat dinner with these people, and the girl right next to me, it would be on my left, right in the picture, her name was Layla. And the girl across from me, that was the one from Honduras, her name was Alessandra. And these people, I just connected with them in just an hour. And I felt so familiar, and I felt like we knew each other for weeks before this. And it meant so much to me that I was able to feel comfortable when giving something that I was so nervous for. There was 3 minutes, and I would give them a whole rundown about my paper, tell them what it was I was talking about and presenting, and I was like, how am I going to fit that in 3 minutes and remember it all? Which some of us ladies, they scripted theirs, and I was like, I can't do that. I'm going to want to read it. And so I was just trying to go off my head what I remembered, and it was really stressful. But it was definitely something that I can say that I survived because I'm here now. That presentation, it helped me see that, in the moment, you know what you're talking about. So don't overthink it, because you know what you're doing. You obviously are here, and so you just talk about it. It's just a simple dialogue. At the end of the day, it's just 3 minutes. It could have been like 10, and I would have had to actually maybe talk slower. But I spoke really fast. It was a little bit. And then we also went on some immersions, and I got to go to Corteva. And so they have 2 headquarters, and one of them was stationed in Des Moines. And so I got to go there and then see what it was like, and they also preserve seeds. And so then they took us to a greenhouse, and I got to see, okay, these are plants that we are testing, so then in 10, 15 years we can put out into nature and see them flourish. And so I was like, wow, there's a lot of thought behind just producing a plant, one single plant. They're testing it with a bunch of others, and there are others stems to create the best one that would be sustainable. And I was like, that's kind of like what I'm doing, just with the fertilizer. And so it was nice to see everything tied together, and then also to see how people who are out there in an agricultural-based job are doing this in the real world, and that I could take that step if I wanted to pursue that. And so, being at Corteva, I also got to see a lot of machines and big conveyor belts and these big pulleys that they would move on the ceiling, and they'd go and pick up trays, and then they'd wash them, and they're just robots. And I was like, wow, but they didn't even look like your regular robot that's holding a tray and walking around and speaks great things. It was like a robot machine, and I was like, okay, so there's a lot of advancements. And I mean, you don't really see this here. I've never seen anything like it. It was so cool to see how things were so advanced and how they had made these things and come up with these ideas. And it was nice because I was coming up with an idea too. And so it was just a really great experience that I was so scared for, but I enjoyed so much. And I made so many great connections, and I have them on Snapchat, Messages, Indeed, all of those platforms that we were presented. I have made so many great friendships and relationships with people, and I would like some of my other friends to tell you a little bit more about the Global Youth Institute.
Given that title alone, you're obviously wondering, what is this girl talking about? So just a little rundown on my paper. So as a lot of us might know, the UAE is an incredibly wealthy country. They are very well off. They run a lot of the economics that go on in this world, not even just by their oil exports, but by the Emirates airline itself, which generates billions of dollars annually to their economy. And because they're so rich, they actually import 85% of their food, which, given the fact that countries in the world are trying to cut back on oil-based industries and become more sustainable and renewable, obviously isn't going to be very sustainable for their economy, and it's going to negatively affect both the Emirati people and all of us around the globe who benefit from what they produce. So my solution was to create industrial greenhouses in the deserts of Abu Dhabi, which is in the western region of the country, and use it's a variation of rice created by an expert Chinese agriculturalist named Wan Wang. He actually created a rice type that uses salt water instead of fresh water. And as we might know, a lot of different plants need very, very specific environments to be able to actually cultivate what needs to be grown and feed people. So he took decades of his time and resources to create this product that was revolutionary and sadly wasn't taken on and brought to everyone around the world because very little people know about his research. So what I did is I took what he created and I combined it with the UAE's relationship with the Netherlands, who are a greenhouse powerhouse of this world, put them together and create even more job opportunities for the 88% of workers that are migrant workers in the UAE, to not only cut down on the level of water scarcity between actually making the food and what people can drink, and while also giving people jobs. So that is my paper. Now, as for experiences, I actually didn't go to the very first night of the Global Youth Institute. I had an orchestra concert. Me and Ms. Sanders, thank you so much. She drove me down to Des Moines. We made it there at midnight, I want to say. It was quite the night, honestly. And then she ended up not even having a room. They had to give her a completely different hotel, like 3 blocks away. It was a night. It was quite the night. But, so coming in there, I didn't know who my group leaders were. I actually had no idea where to meet with everyone. It was a very hectic morning. Thankfully, I had a lot of people who were there that just kind of helped me, grafted me into the group, helped me figure out where I needed to be. That was one of the best experiences I had. I realized that no matter where I am, there's always going to be someone there willing to help me, and all I have to do is just ask. But that was an amazing experience. The immersion that I went to was a hydroponic farm. It was actually a nonprofit organization that ran it. It was insane. It was amazing to see how they were growing leafy greens with just water. And that's before the fact that the man who runs it is actually paid by this nonprofit organization, has worked with many others during his career, and even worked with hydroponics, aside from the aquaponics. So as we know, hydroponic farming is growing crops and not using any soil. It's completely indoors with completely controlled climates, just using water. Aquaponics, however, you also use fish byproducts to produce these same crops. However, this facility did not specialize in that, so unfortunately we couldn't view that, but I was able to actually harvest some of these crops and wash them and put them into packages so that they could be distributed to the community and whoever needed them. It was amazing to be able to see what we can do with technology that we've cultivated over the years. And the process of simply sanitizing everything, making sure you are covered from head to toe before you can even enter into the labs. I really have respect for all of the people who do that on a daily basis, because trust me, I could not even get my hair into the hairnet. It was a struggle. I needed 3. I was like, wait, how do you guys do this? But that was amazing. As for my experience during roundtable discussions, that was rough. I was shaking like a leaf and trying to just play it cool, like, yeah, obviously I belong here. No, I was trying not to scream inside. That was, I like to say that I did prepare myself for situations like this because of how my mom, thank you, Mom, I love you so much, brought me up in a lot of pageants and modeling, so speaking isn't a very crazy thing for me, but when you're met with a bunch of experts who have not only read your paper, but know the topic so much well than I ever could have, and only researching it for a couple of months, that was daunting. And it didn't help that there was lightning going on the whole time I was presenting. I was like, God help me, please, please. But it was incredible to really see all the people in not only just agricultural industries, but biotech and sustainability from all different areas of the world that came together just for this event. In Des Moines, Iowa, middle of the Midwest, which I don't know why we chose the Midwest. I mean, I do, but also think there are other places that are usually used for such big events as this, and the fact that they chose to make it here, where we are usually not as exposed to such grand and giant events, was amazing. So the number one thing that I would say I took away from this event is, number one, the youth are actually the future, no matter how much they tell us about it. Some of us don't believe it, and being immersed in it for 3 days was an amazing wake-up call. That's before the fact that we might think we're on our own, but there are so many of you guys that are out here supporting us and rooting for us and helping us get all these opportunities to see a world that we don't really immerse ourselves in on a day-to-day basis, which was amazing. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Jid, and my topic was on political causes of starvation in Sudan. So my main thing was there's 2 warring parties in Sudan, and we're not going to be able to farm if there's constant bombing going on, if there's constant ransacking. So we have to stop the main issue, which is the civil war, and then grow and build from there. So during the Youth Institute, we did a lot of dialogues. We went to a lot of dialogues. We got to listen to panel speakers and a lot of people coming from different places, such as astronauts or chefs and people that have to do with agriculture mainly. People were high in politics, and we're all sitting there like, guys, why are we listening to someone talk about the moon? That was from afar. We were all so confused. I was even confused myself going into this because I'm like, I don't know anything about agriculture. I don't know the difference between a shovel and like ground. Like, I don't know what's going on. And so I wrote my paper on politics because that's what I know best. That's what I know law. I know and just talk about politics. And so going into it, I was like, I don't have a place here. I shouldn't be here. Not in the aspect that I didn't put in the effort, but in the aspect that this is about agriculture. Norman E. Borlaug was about the golden wheat and like trying to feed places that don't get the opportunity to constantly grow things. And so once we got into it, I was seeing different people. Someone had a topic on Ukraine and Russia, and hers was on the Civil War, or someone else had things like growing tomatoes in China, like something so like specific. And it was like, it gave us the opportunity to speak on things that we were passionate about, and give us the opportunity to realize that we are the adults. Like, at the end of the day, 15, 16, the girl from Honduras was 14 years old, and we were getting to talk about things that we're so passionate about in different lights. And so when Mikhail was talking about how the youth is the future, I want to think the youth is now. We're making changes now. Not only are our papers like being looked at in the aspect of, oh, this gets an A in the grade book. This is looked at by people in high standing points, people of like world leaders, like the president of Ethiopia, Sierra Leone, and Tanzania were all there, and Olympians like Jackie Joyner-Kersee. We all sat down during breakfast, and we're all shaking hands. So everyone, like the Hormel delegates, or not delegates, but the Hormel people, and we were shaking hands and all saying hi. And then someone like unfamiliar, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, we shake her hand, not knowing that she is the Olympian. So they're introducing her and saying 6-time Olympian medalist. And all of a sudden, Jackie from our table walks over. No way that this was the person. And so yeah, I feel like it gave us opportunity to be the adults for the day, or for the week, honestly. And so later on throughout our, how many, 4 days, 3 days we were there, we got to experience different things like FarmCraft, where they showed us farming in the virtual aspect, and we also got to do the food packing, which was honestly, gave us an immersive experience. Because some people felt almost constantly doing the same thing, almost trapped, just panelists after panelists after panelists. But they give us opportunities to actually do physical hand-on activities, such as packing food, putting the hairnets. Michaela, I did 3 hairnets. I was struggling. So So yeah, we got to do that, and then we got to see that these are going to people. These aren't just like activities that are going to get thrown off into a closet. These are going to actual people and actual communities and actual families and actual mouths. People are getting to eat these, and yeah, honestly, the experience was a great opportunity, and I was glad and honored to be one of the 4 people from Austin High School, one of the 11 people from Minnesota, and one of the 175 people from all around the world. Because this is an around the world opportunity. This isn't just the United States. People from China, Kenya. Some of my group was from Kenya, and she was talking about Nigeria and all just different things, like different topics. It was an amazing opportunity, and yeah, it was very great.
Hello, my name is Chloe Cannon. My topic was port infrastructure in rural Romania. So in rural Romania, they're very poor. This is mostly due because the main source of income is agriculture. However, they live off subsistence agriculture, so all the food that they grow is used to provide for their families, so they don't make an income off of it. My solution was to switch from subsistence agriculture to commercial agriculture. And the only way you can do that is by improving the transportation in rural areas. So the Global Youth Institute, going into it, it was like they all said, we didn't feel like we belonged because it was all these incredible people, these scientists, engineers, people in politics, presidents, and like I was just a teenage girl, like I didn't expect to ever be here. And so it was just crazy, but like, there was one person who really stuck out to me. His name was Lazarus Lynch. He talked the very first night that we were there, and he's a chef, and he wrote this book called Son of the Southern Chef, and he was just talking about his book, and all of a sudden he said, and he was talking a lot about how he helps with food insecurity and helps people around the world, and then he mentioned that he also attended the Global Youth Institute when he was a teenager. He started off at the New York Institute, I believe, and then he worked his way up to the Global Youth Institute, and now he's a very famous chef, and he works in agriculture and improving people's food security, and that just really inspired me because we were all just teenagers, and I didn't expect this to ever go anywhere, and knowing that one day we can make this big impact and this change on people's lives just like he did, it was just really inspiring. And overall, just my biggest outcome was just all these kids. There's 175 of us from all 50 states, from I believe 9 countries, all ages. I think the youngest was 14, and then there was college students, and it was just incredible to get to know all these people. I'm still in contact with some of them to this day, and just seeing their papers. I loved the roundtable presentations, even though it was definitely the hardest part of the experiments. But it was just incredible hearing all their papers, and that they're just as passionate about this as the 4 of us are, and that, you know, we are going to be the future, and that we're going to change the world, and I just know that we have such a bright future in politics and just agriculture in general.
All right, and what is next for us and for them? They have the opportunity, if they choose to do so, to go back next year to be youth leaders at the 2025 Global Youth Institute. There is opportunities for internships and scholarships. And then what are we doing here at Austin High? We are continuing with this program. We're working currently in our AP Human Geography course, working on gathering research about our countries as we're working through all of our different units in Human Geography and AP and regular Human Geography, where the students are going to be then and have an opportunity to write that paper and submit it to the Minnesota Youth Institute. In the second semester, I will be teaching on world events. We're going to incorporate this into that course as well, not just focusing on food security, but looking at using this as a format for the students to look at any modern world problems. So thank you very much. If you have any questions?
This is incredible. All 4 of you, talking to you, all 4 of you said, I can't believe I'm here. I don't belong here. That's called imposter syndrome. Look it up. Learn about that, because that is the furthest thing from the truth based on everything that we just heard tonight. I think I don't know about everybody else, I could listen to you all talk all night long. I'll just stay here. Sorry, but it is clear that you guys are chasing your passion and your voices, the work that you did and the presentations that you made in those roundtables. There are people out there that are taking that as inspiration and running with it now. So you are already contributing to the solution. So it's super exciting just to hear this, and I can't wait to see what you all do next.
I would like to echo that, and I get a little bit emotional. Bella, when you said you're not just some kid from Austin, Minnesota, none of you are just some kid. I don't know if you guys know Bella is my niece.
Oh.
And so she's a little extra special. You all are going places, and you are going to accomplish so much more than this girl sitting here. And I'm so proud of the work that you have done and what you're going to do. You are all so well spoken and so passionate about the work that you're doing. Please, please, please don't ever stop that, ever. I'm so proud of you all. Great job on the work that you've done.
I'd just like to say you all four of you sound brilliant, and this has been one of the more enjoyable presentations I've had on the 4 years that I've been on the board. You talked about, being impressed by the presidents and Jackie Joyner Kersey and CEOs and all the really important people in high places, and I have a lot of confidence that will be you guys someday. So I wish you the best luck in the future. You guys dressed for the occasion. You guys all look nice. And then lastly, Ms. Saunders, this has to be just an incredible experience for you to have students like this in your class, and what a shining example of something that the school district and our administration and our teachers are trying to accomplish here, producing a product and having students like this that are really prepared for, you guys are going to go places. And I'll echo the public speaking thing. You guys, I couldn't have done that off the fly. So congratulations, and I'm very proud of you guys. We are.
Ms. Saunders, would it be a big ask for us to have the girls come down and we can high five them? Or fist bump them?
That is fine. The girls are up for that. That is great. And I am super proud of them, and they make my job easy.
Come on,
They do.
the first one.
You didn't gotta follow that. Good luck.
Yeah. Wow. I would not follow that right.
Anybody else have last comments prior to letting these ladies speak?
I just want to thank you all. This was, like I said, like Evan said, this is an amazing presentation. You all did a fantastic job, and I could have listened to you all night. I do have a question about the paper that you did. Was there like a minimum, maximum amount of pages this had to be?
There were requirements that we needed to meet for the original paper at the University of Minnesota. I do believe it was a minimum of 3 to 5 pages and a minimum of about 1,500 words. And then we did have the opportunity to revise our papers later in the summer when we were chosen as delegates to go to the GYI. And I can speak personally, that was rough. I went from a 5-page paper to a 10-page paper, even with the feedback that the board of,
That experts.
there's a board of experts that review papers and give you your feedback later on. All they told me was expand. I'm like, I don't got so much. have 3 minutes to present this. But yes, those were our original requirements. I believe for the GYI, they let us kind of go past that a little bit, knowing that given the feedback we were given, it's gonna have to be a little more in-depth, expanded. Word count is probably gonna double, but I believe that is the requirements they gave us.
Congrats.
Yeah, just a couple things. Again, students, congratulations. Thank you for representing yourselves and the Austin Public Schools. And I know this isn't, possible without the support of your teacher and mentor, Ms. Sanders, Formal Foods and the Hometown Food Security Project. So I want to thank those organizations and Ms. Sanders too. But also, just a reminder from, you heard from our students tonight, our school board representatives, student representatives across the district. I think this is another example of the Austin Public Schools realizing our vision, right? To prepare all learners to make a difference in the world. And this is a great example of that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. That was just the highlight. Can't possibly top that. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Poor Todd. I mean, it's gonna be super fun. All right. Our next agenda item. Not gonna be. Can't make it now. All right.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is our request and our overview and request for the approval of our 2024 fiscal year audit report from Executive Director of Finance and Operations Todd Leftenberg and Coaches Arson Allen, Principal Craig Publican. They're tough acts to follow, I'm sorry.
Yes. Sorry, just need this pulled up. Chairperson DeBay, Dr. Page, and the rest of the board, it is my honor to stand in front of you tonight to talk about and turn it over about our audit. As most of you guys remember, a year ago, I was being interviewed, but this time in our audit came in December. So we started this year, and our audit started prepping for this in July. We had the auditors on site in September, which is about a month and a half earlier. Also in September, we are having new staff here. We are going through a lot of things. So I get to stand up a lot of times in front of you guys, in front of a lot of people and talk and give. But tonight is about giving kudos. This team, okay? This team put a lot of things on hold to get this audit in front of you guys tonight. So again, this is an awesome team. I am so honored, and Dr. Bastian here with Sue Stark is so honored to have this as our team. They put in a lot of hours, a lot of weekends, to be able to give you guys the results every year. So again, I just want to give kudos to this team. Also at the same time, to my predecessors. We this year had 3 Executive Director of Finance and Operations. We had Andrew Adams start the year, we had Julie Sink fill in for a little bit, and then myself to end the year. So the only thing that was consistent in our finance team was this team. So again, if you see them, please thank them, because they're the ones that did all the work to get us ready for tonight. With that, I'm going to turn this presentation over to Craig Copenhagen from Clifton Larson Allen, and they will go through the results.
Sounds good. Good evening, everyone. I'm Craig Copenhagen. Very happy to be presenting the audit to you tonight. So yeah, following the previous act, maybe that's not as exciting, but some of these, the nice thing about launching some of these young people into the future is having a solid foundation to start from. So I think we're talking about foundational things now. So with me is Sterling Shavik. So Sterling was part of the audit team. So from my side, that's one of the ways that the audit gets done. So you know, I don't actually do real work anymore, in my role, so I haven't had a real job in 30 years, and I'm pretty good at not having a real job, I think, so. But I do get to come and present audit results, so, that's one of the perks. So, you know, this has always already been through the finance committee, so we'll kind of hit the high points here, but, clean audit report, clean opinion on the financial statements, again. So, yeah, thinking back, to a year ago, what Todd was speaking about, yeah, there were a few transitions in place. And yet still, here we are, talking about a good solid audit report. So clean opinion on the financial statements means we're comfortable that, you know, all the numbers and everything in the booklet, are correctly measured, correctly presented in accordance with accounting principles, in all material respects. There's quite a few accounting standards now, so just in the government world alone, we're over 100. So 100 different, you know, accounting standards over the last 40 years that we get to think about. Along with looking at the numbers and testing the integrity of the records and everything, we look at processes, how transactions go through the system, clean bill of health there, so no findings on internal controls. As per usual, you know, a good amount of federal grant money, federal funds flowing through into the district. So this year, our programs of choice were Child Nutrition Cluster in the Title I program. So that's what we audited for federal compliance this year. We had basically a procedural finding, one out of this whole thing. Just in the Child Nutrition Cluster, Minnesota legal compliance, no findings reported there. So what you're doing day in, day out for statutory compliance, looking good for Minnesota statutes. Kind of shifting into some numbers here. So one of the highlights or a definite positive was the enrollment trend. So enrollment was up for the 23-24 school year. So just over, or right at 5,100 students basically for 23-24. So that kind of does a few things. So with, you know, every student that comes in the district or is in the district, just do quick math, $10,000 of state aid or state funding comes in per student. So, you know, when you have increases in your enrollment, it brings more money into the district, and that sets you up for some good things financially. So one of those, the general fund operating results overall. So what we got here is kind of just a trend on revenues and expenses coming into the general fund. So revenues, dark shaded bar, expenses, light shaded bar. What you like to see is the light shaded blue bar being shorter than the dark shaded blue bar. And then the kind of the yellow bar is the residual of the fund balance remaining at the end of the year. So with a couple things happened. Increased enrollment certainly helped. So you had enrollment higher than what you had budgeted, brought in more revenue than what you had budgeted. Expenses came in under budget, so what that means is it added to the fund balance carrying forward. So we'll talk about that. We'll slice and dice that a few different ways here. But the other thing that did help was the state of Minnesota increased the formula rate that they use per student to fund school districts. So that was a pretty good increase. Well, the best increase they've had in the last 10 years. But so they're trying to put more money into the school districts. You know, with inflation, it's hard to still align revenues with the cost or cost with the revenues, however you want to look at it. So, but nevertheless, so added to fund balance this year, kind of breaking it down into some different components. The blue bar, the tall one, is total fund balance. Kind of the orange bar is what I'll kind of focus on here. That's the unassigned fund balance. So basically, the fund balance that you have as a district control over, you know, what to spend, how to spend, if you spend. So that is, that's kind of your security blanket in a way. So it's your shelter, kind of your reserve or well, but it's about 2 months, maybe 2.5 months worth of operations there. So that's a good thing. And in context of your board policy, which is what we're looking at here, your unassigned general fund balance is just under 18%. That's the best it's been in quite a while. That's a good thing. So there is kind of that, kind of that foundation, laying that solid foundation to carry it forward and really build on that. So, which that's great to see. Revenues, where did they come from? So just under 93 million in total revenues in the general fund. This pie chart, if you compare it to last year, the state sources is about 2% bigger for the reasons of the enrollment as well as the formula rate being funded by the state on a percentage-wise increase of the blue shaded slice of the pie. Federal sources is correspondingly about 2% less, so it's a little bit of a shift. So what's happening in the federal sources is, all the COVID money that had been around for the previous 3 kind of school years, that's all kind of, COVID's done, we're moving on. And likewise, the COVID funding is going away as well. It's done. So that's kind of one thing to look at there. Also, property taxes, I'll mention that a little bit. So, property taxes, that slice of the pie is just a little bit bigger than it was a year ago. And one reason for that is the operating levy that this board passed, or basically adopted, was approved almost 2 years ago. So November 2022. That operating levy finally hit revenues in the 23-24 school year. So property tax is a little bit bigger. That helps with your unassigned fund balance. It helps with some programming and funding that as well. So just wanted to point that out. So and, thank you to the voters in the district for that support. General fund revenues, just under $83 million. So basically there's a few things, you've been kind of controlling expenses. Some of you've got some open positions, I think, so your salaries and compensation was not as high as it could be. Probably like to have maybe a few more faculty members or some additional people in the building kind of helping steer the ship or run the ship with the programming. However you want to look at that. Couple highlights here. So the administration percentage, 3.59%, is actually down in total in terms of real dollars, and administration is a little bit lower than it was a year ago. So I kind of look at it in terms of the one that's very lean. If you kind of combine administration with district support, you're at about 4, not quite 7% total, right? Generally, I see that in a range of more like 8% on the low end to 12% on the high end. So you're running, what it tells me is that the district, you're running very lean. You're not overspending on administration by any means. So you're at the same time getting good results, good audit reports along with that, not without effort. And Todd kind of mentioned several people who are important with that from at least the audit standpoint at the beginning of the segment here. But something.
Can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
You said that 4 to 8% for other districts. You have property tax at 7.92%.
Yep.
Is that fairly indicative? Do you do other school audits?
We do.
Where do we lie in that?
I've seen property taxes make up upwards of 18% of the revenue side. So usually it's a little bit higher. Now, Austin's a little bit different. That you have kind of the Hormel Foundation is a really big, nice non-governmental funder for programs and things that a lot of other districts don't have that on their day. So finish up with, the pie chart here, and then I'll turn it over to Sterling. That ain't been on for a while, so you don't have to listen to me through the remainder of the presentation here, but kind of, what this is looking at, if you look at, kind of at the bottom of the pie chart, regular, that means regular instruction, regular classroom instruction. We work clockwise and go up to, make our way up to people support. If you look at, what that means is that segment of the pie chart is your budget going into classroom and instructional activities supporting students. And that makes up 80% of the pie chart if you did the math, a little bit over 80%. And that's a little bit higher percentage even than it was a year ago. A year ago it was just under 80%. This year it's about 80.5. That means in the context of the general fund, 80 cents on the dollar going into classroom instruction, going into learning. So I think that's a really good number. So, Sterling, come on up. I'll let you push the button.
Thank you. So I'm gonna get a little more granular here with the detail. The next slide here would be administrative expenditures per enrollment. So wanted to point out that the district itself is doing great with its administration costs. It actually went down this year. This is good, and it's a good sign that the district is being efficient in its resources for administration. We still getting good marks, good regulatory compliance and such, so. I just wanted to point out that the blue graph, or the blue bar, is for districts that have, enrollment of 4,000 and higher, and then, green bar is the state average. You are well below them numbers, so good job. Next slide here will be regular instruction expenditures. So as you can see, from 23 to 24, the expenditures went up approximately 9%. I would say that this is a good expense because this is sticking money right in the classrooms. This is direct money to the classrooms themselves. And this is the biggest line item on the budget itself for expenditures, and it is well within the state average or slightly below. So good job on managing those instructional expenses here. So any questions thus far? Next one I wanted to point out was the food service fund. So I recall discussing this last year and how we were talking about the healthy fund balances, but then the food service fund and a lot of other districts are seeing that as well. This was due to an influx of COVID money for the meals and the summer food programs and such. So I just wanted to note that again, that this fund balance is very restricted in what it can be did for the food service fund. So it is sitting healthy right now. Over $2 million fund balance for that program, and you will see that between the blue column or the dark blue column and the light blue column, that margin margin did improve from last year as well. And a lot of that can be attributed to the state paying for meals this year for students. You know, that increases demand and, you know, the revenues and more meals served. So that would be a direct correlation to those free meals for students for that food service fund balance increase. The next one I wanted to discuss quick would be the community service fund. So I just want to kind of talk about what we've been seeing in other districts. In other districts, we've been seeing decreased revenues. It seemed like COVID really hit the community service funds at all the districts, and then kind of got that after COVID spike where people are getting out again, and now we're seeing that revenue decrease in the community service funds. But wanted to say that Austin's position right now is a healthy position in the community service fund. Revenues are staying higher than expenditures, leading to that increased fund balance. As you can see from 22 to 23 to 24, that margin has been shrinking narrowly, but it's still a positive margin. So that is a good position to be in the community service fund. Next graph here is the total expenditures per that enrollment. So as you can see, the Austin School District is still below that state average and the state average for larger districts there for 4,000 or higher. This is per enrollment, of course, so I wanted to note that since the enrollment is higher, that ratio is the expenditure is over students, so the more students, that expenditure is lower, or the ratio is lower. So it's just a good job managing expenditures when that increase in enrollment is showing at the district, so. I wanted to say overall, the increase is about 9% from last year, so that is that inflation showing up between 23 and 24, but good job on managing the expenditures per enrollee. And with that, I just want to thank the board and thank for a good audit season again, a good year, and thank Todd and his staff, and it's always good to be here, and I welcome any questions to Craig and I, so.
Anybody have any questions? I'm gonna say hearing none. Thank you so much, to both of you for being here tonight. We appreciate, the time and work that goes into completing our audit annually, so thank you.
Thank you.
I am delighted to see all the good news, and I know a lot of hard work goes into that, so thank you, Todd and group, and thank you for the audit. Nice.
Just one other thing I forgot to mention, it is also the leadership here. So the board entrusting us, Dr. Page entrusting us, the leadership team that sits behind me over here, our staff, custodians and food service, everybody is going in the same direction for our students. So again, this is an awesome organization and it is a team effort to have these results tonight. So I just want to thank you guys for your leadership, Dr. Page for your leadership, and everybody working together to provide these results.
So we have to, approve this. So is there a motion to approve the 2024 fiscal year audit report? Brothers makes the motion. Evan beat you, Carol, you gotta speak up faster. Alright, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Did you have something that you needed to say? Nope, okay. You just looked like you were ready. Alright, we're gonna keep moving forward, we've got a couple more things. Our next agenda item is the request for the approval of our donations, also presented by Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Todd Leftenberg.
Thank you, Chairperson Bay, Dr. Page, and our school board. Again, it is my honor to be in front of you to go through donations. We have looked at all these donations. They are in compliance with our school board policy 706. So we are asking for your approval tonight, and I will read them. Dugan Scanlon Foundation, $5,000, Special Services Department. Fraternal Order of Eagles, $2,000, Austin High School World Language. Fraternal Order of Eagles, $500, Austin High School Wrestling Program. Austin Girls Soccer Booster Club, $1,160.16 for the girls soccer program. Howard and Janet Strite, $555, Austin High School Athletics. The Next Chapter, Inc., 50 new books for Austin High School World Language Department Exploring Language and Cultures class. And Freeborn Mauer Operation Roundup, $500, Southgate Elementary.
All right, is there a motion to approve the donations? Motion by Carol. Good job.
Second.
Second by Evan. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Next, we're going to hear also from Todd, the request for the approval of Guaranteed Energy Savings Contract.
Thank you. So we started this process, Andrew started this back in, about a year ago in January. We brought in a company that did a look around to see if there was savings here. They reported back to us, and then the next step was to go out for bid. And so we submitted a bid, and you guys approved that bid to go out in September. We had that out for 2 weeks. We had 2 companies submit back sealed bids to us. Between myself and Joe Adamson, our Director of Facilities, we scored those bids, and we have published the results, and we're asking tonight for you guys to recommend the contract to Apex as they receive the highest score. So the next step here, if we award this, is they will start coming in and we will start looking at what potential savings there are. So we are not agreeing to a dollar amount tonight. We are not agreeing to a contract at this point. They will come in, they will look at our LED lighting, as that'll be our main focus, but they also have the ability to look at our HVAC and some other places to also try to find energy savings. If we do deem a project is worthy, we will bring that back forward to you for approval and the financing of that. So I'll open up to any questions.
So this is for a contract for them to come in and look at things and identify opportunities for energy savings.
Yes, part of the energy savings, the statute 123D.65 is their steps. You have to go through a feasibility study, and then you have to take sealed bids in, and then award that based on the sealed bid, and then the next step is they come in and start interviewing and going through the process.
I'd like to ask you, Todd, over the last year, we had these two gentlemen come in, I think twice, and talk to us about windows, locker rooms, hallways, things of that nature. Were those individuals from Ameresco?
They were from the other company, Ameresco, we'll get that out. Yes, they were from that company. They also bid, but they did not receive the highest score.
And can you tell us anything about Apex?
Apex is, they have a local company, they'll work with the lighting side at least, so it'll be a local company, and both, Apex and Ameresco had agreed to provide, if we actually move forward with the lighting project, that most of the work, or whatever local contractors can do, they will do, and then Apex will do the rest. They have done some projects, and I don't have them exactly on top of my head, but they've done some in southeast Minnesota, and Retrofit would be the company that would work with Apex on the LED lighting if we move forward.
I recall we had an individual talk to us about fluorescent lighting, or was he from Apex?
No, he was from Ameresco. That gentleman has left Ameresco. One of the things why we're looking at LED to start with is the fluorescent bulbs that we have in place today will be stopped being produced soon. So we do kind of need to look at this, and that's why we're putting the LED lighting first. But we will look at other things, but we know we got to move forward on that.
Okay, good, thanks.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion to approve the guaranteed energy savings contract with Apex?
So moved.
Motion by Stacy. Second by Peggy. Further discussion? We all need lights. Keep the lights on, please. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. A couple reminders. We've got our organizational meeting date coming up on Monday, January 6th at 12 o'clock. It says I'm supposed to suggest that. Is that a suggestion that I'm making? Yes? Or am I just telling you that that's what's going to happen?
Your call.
I mean, I can just tell you that's when our organizational meeting will be. If anybody has committee requests, let me know. Okay? Committee. Yeah. And we will have a special school board meeting this Thursday, November 14th at 4:15 p.m. to canvass the election returns. And we also have a school board study session scheduled for Monday, November 25th at 4 p.m. Both of these meetings will be in the district office conference room. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion by Peggy. Second by Carol. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Sue.
Oh my gosh. Ask me if you can do my picture, and I look like a hard in that thing.
I'm sorry.
Should I be
They can stare at me on TV.
I was gonna say the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I know I thought it was a good
really good.
He's like the baker, deal or no deal. We can ask him, Chad, we have a good question for you over here.
Can we make sure we remove anything you can throw at me?
I was gonna ask you this with microphone, but I figured I better. Girls, come out of that screen.
Great question. That's why I give them kudos and that's me. I have an amazing team. I have an amazing team.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do.
And then there was like,
You're a good student.
No, yes, no.
You watched football?
Yeah, I'm usually in the booth running or helping run our YouTube channel. So I go and see the booth. I don't go to these. They're wrong. But they're really
That's
they went into the next class.
well, I envisioned something like more. And then when you said that, I'm like, oh, that's gonna spark some problems.
He's like, wow, they just are doing what So, yeah, gotta love them.
Good night, Sherry.
Good night. Yep.
Where they're all, because like a kingdom on has the books that are to the back of them, so you can just hang in there. And then I take it out. And over here, brushes and it gets fine.